Hello, my name is Holly Parker, and I am a student at BYU, Idaho. I am part of the Family Search Community Tree Building Internship this winter semester of 2025, my final semester before I graduate from BYU, Idaho. Today I would like to share with you some of the joys that family history can bring to you and the personal experiences I have gained as project manager for the project titled Stepping Stones Toward the Tampa Temple. When beginning your family history, it is important to find a reason or to ask yourself, why do I want to invest my time in this? And what do I hope to accomplish? As I asked myself this question, my great grandmother came to mind. I began researching her 9 years ago and didn't know that my great grandmother lived only 45 minutes from where I live in Florida today. Hilda, that's pictured here, was a beautiful woman that was born in Orlando, Florida, to her parents Charles and Mary Ann DeWall. After her mother passed away when she was about 10 years old, her father and her moved to Chicago, where he remarried. She was sent to live in a Catholic boarding school known as Our Lady of Angels Academy in Lyons, Iowa, when she was 16 years old. I chose this as the first step of my research because my objective was to add the names of those living in that boarding school with her to the community family tree. Focusing on this coverage, we used the 1900 U.S. Census from Lyons, Iowa as the data set. The second step that was used for this project was the Florida Death Index from 1877 to 1998. This is where Hilda lived until she died in Tampa at age 95 in 1981. I chose this collection as the final data set because a Tampa, Florida temple was announced in 2022, and I wanted to focus on the people that live in my community and my future temple district. In the first step of this project, the coverage of 80 Catholic sisters and students that lived at Our Lady of Angels Academy in Lyons, Iowa, from the 1900 U.S. Census were added to the Family Search Community Family Tree. My mother was raised a Catholic, and she taught me that when Catholic sisters take an oath as a nun, they often take on a new religious name, or they might drop their last name. They never marry or have children. It is likely that these women that were in this census were not being searched for by family members. So, as I prayed about this project, I felt impressed to add them to the community family tree, along with all of the other young girls who spent days with my great-grandmother, living and studying away from their parents in this boarding school in 1900. The school has since been torn down, and to give a geographical perspective, it is 143 miles from Nauvoo, Illinois. This work was accomplished with the help of family volunteers who viewed the data set and then entered the name and information of each person in the boarding school and attached them into the community family tree. The volunteers added 80 names into the community family tree that were in this household. The work was then recorded on a Google Sheet so that other volunteers would know where to begin and continue the work. The next stepping stone in this project was focused on adding the names and dates of people that died the year my great-grandma Hilda died in Tampa, Florida. Another Google Sheet was used by the volunteers to record their name, page, and status of their work. In the Google Sheet was a direct link to the data set to get them started. As they finished a page, they changed the status to closed so that the next volunteer knew which page to pick up and continue the work. Over 2,400 people were added into the community family tree. I invited the young women from my ward to join me on a Wednesday night activity for an introduction to family history, and to help me with this project. I began with a presentation to teach them that family history can be an alternative to social media, and that a study was conducted through BYU that showed how family history can reduce anxiety and increase self-esteem. I then demonstrated how to add unconnected people in the community family tree and taught the girls how to create a new family search account in their cell phones so that they could begin their own personal pedigree. The young women really enjoyed this, and so did their leaders. They thought that this activity was a level 2 intermediate of difficulty, but they learned skills that they could take with them so that they could continue their own family history when they left. I provided the volunteers with an email that included step-by-step instructions and a help video explaining how to attach the 1900 U.S. Census to an unrelated person. This allowed them to take the skill with them after the activity was over. My total contributions in Family Search was $4,276. I had help from a total of 14 volunteers. The total volunteer hours were 302. One volunteer said, "I've learned that these are not just names, but real people." Another volunteer said, "The volunteer project changed my outlook on family history by making it more personal." The greatest blessing that I received from this project was when I found a new ancestor hint in Family Search for my great-grandma Hilda. This was a record for a stillborn son that no one in the family ever knew about. He was the last of her 8 children. I was able to add her son to her family tree and requested permission from Family Search to seal him to his parents. This work was done in the Fort Lauderdale Temple during this project. The Tampa Temple hasn't broke ground yet. However, we have helped add the names of over 2,400 people in the spirit world to the community tree, and we will be ready to perform the ordinances for our ancestor in the house of the Lord when it opens. This is the end of my presentation, and I want to take just a second to thank Heather Jacobs, my mentor, for all of her help and for all of the other mentors and service volunteers at the Family Search Community Tree Building Internship for guiding me throughout this internship. Together, we have helped build the community family tree.